Hey everyone, Miko here with Behavior Analyst Supervisor. Thank you for joining us for our free Wednesday Zoom calls. Here you're watching on YouTube, but you could also join us on Wednesday. If you're interested in the link to these calls to join live, feel free to send us an email at info@behavioranalystsupervisor.com. You can also just check out our Instagram. We post questions every single day on Instagram. We also post the link to our free Zoom calls. Every Wednesday, we go through a different task list item area, such as A1. We'll talk a little bit about that task list item, and then we'll go through 3 mock exam questions relating to that task list area. We hope that this provides an opportunity for you to learn a little bit more about the task list and also dive deep into question dissection. We here at Behavior Analyst Supervisor really focus on providing explanations on why an answer is correct and why it's also incorrect. So we appreciate that you joined us. If you have any questions throughout the duration of this video, feel free to shoot us an email, hit that like and subscribe button for more information. Also, you can always leave a comment and we'll be sure to reach back out to you. Thanks again, and I'm Miko with Behavior Analyst Supervisor. You'll also be hearing from Amy and Kevin. Talk to you soon.
Everybody getting here? Hello, everyone. You're all muted. So sorry, that happens when you first get here, but it's Kevin and Miko is going to run the chat today.
Hey everyone.
Oh, there you are. And Amy's here as well.
I'm here as well.
So we're going to run through, you've kind of seen the format, I hope. I want to just kind of do some improv stuff, but what you'll need to do is chat Miko, and then he can tell me, he can relate, what question or stimulus or whatever we're going to do. That's really all we have time for. If there is any time at the end, I'll try to take some other questions, but I want to talk about the topic today.
Well, and be sure to stay until the end because we'll be giving away a free mini mock, a new to you mini mock. So
that's right.
Hang in there.
We just keep writing questions, or at least one of us does, right, Miko? Okay.
Oh yeah.
And loving it. So G-12. Use equivalence-based instruction. And there's no way I'm going to do this justice in half an hour, but we're going to try with just a few questions anyway. So using equivalence-based instruction. First thing I want to try, and usually I say give me a behavior, but obviously that won't work for this one. So give me a stimulus. So chat Miko a stimulus, just kind of an improv style. What could we talk about reflexivity, symmetry, transitivity, and the whole equivalence thing with?
You guys better do it or I'm going to do it. And Kevin never likes that.
Yeah, she's like, ooh, 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 me. She's that kid.
A vending machine.
Okay.
A vending machine.
I love this. This is challenging, Kevin, I can tell.
I know. I'm like, how do I do this? Okay, so if you have reflexivity, and I want you to see the questions are going to be along these lines too, but I'm going to kind of give some stuff away, right? If you have reflexivity, it's the demonstration of that relationship, not just the two things are identical, but that somehow these two stimuli, you're showing that they are identical. You're identifying, hey, those things match. They're the same, whatever. So if we're talking about a vending machine, maybe you see, I don't know. I'm like, let's say a picture of, vending machine in the hall, and then you identify which vending machine it is. Sounds like a lineup more. Let's see if we can make it into symmetry though, which I want you to see. Symmetry isn't the identity matching. Symmetry is recognizing there's a relationship from this to this stimulus, and therefore we can make the derived relation that the opposite must be true, right? That the other way or the reverse of the trained connection or equivalence. So how would we do that? Let me think about the vending machine, and then let's think if we can come up with another stimulus.
Somebody chatted to me arcade games.
Okay.
And vending machine warehouse.
Okay. So like if we did,
thanks for throwing Kevin a bone.
both of those are great. I think it's easier with symmetry than reflexivity, because if we say, look, in my opinion, the snacks in that vending machine are better than the ones in my vending, the ones in my building or my office, right? So if I say those vending machines are better than the ones I have, then I'm also saying, or here's the symmetrical part, is if somebody says, oh, okay, so that means that the ones in the other building are better than yours. So you've got to go back and forth is all I'm saying. So if I say, those are better than mine, that means mine are worse than those. That's the symmetrical part, is that second part where you're saying, oh, well, if those are better, then these are worse. So there's an example we can do.
All right.
With a vending machine. So think about how the client in a scenario, right? Because back to passing the test, right? How will the client, or has the client demonstrated this reflexivity, symmetry, or transitivity? And that's what you really need to look for. So let's get into some of the questions.
So wait, somebody else has one more little example.
Yeah, sure.
That their $1 bill is the same as the crispy $1. Their crispy $1 bill is the same as your old funky $1 bill.
Okay, right.
Mm-hmm.
So they aren't exact identity. They're not the same. If they seem the same, they still represent a dollar. That's fine, but we wouldn't say that they are exactly reflexive unless that's all we're focused on is just the one, not the serial number on it or something like that. But yeah, you could talk about how one is crispy and one's not, and then therefore the symmetrical relationship is this one's crispier than this one's crumplier than the other, that kind of thing. But again, look for these, we're going to talk about them, but look for the identity matching with reflexivity that's demonstrated by the client. Look for the opposite of the trained relation for symmetry. And then we'll get more into it. But for transitivity, you have to have 3 stimuli. So if you don't have 3 stimuli, then oh, okay, it can't be transitivity. You have to have at least 3 stimuli. Is that enough? I'm sorry, I feel like anxious to get ready to get into the question.
Can I add one thing, Kevin?
Yeah.
Cool. So what Kevin just said is really important with transitivity, that it has 3 stimuli, but it doesn't require 3 derived relations. It still only requires 1 derived relation. And I see folks getting that mixed up so much. If you have 3 derived relations, then you have stimulus equivalence. Transitivity, you just need 3 stimuli with one of those relations, A to C, being derived.
Great. I love that, Miko. We gotta talk about those common mistakes. And so that's helpful. Okay, without further ado, here we go. So, and Amy loves it when I start to draw on the screen, but let's try this. Maybe without drawing and maybe with, we'll see. Given the equivalent stimuli, so you're trained or you're told these are true. A is the same as C, D is the same as F, G is the same as I, and F equals A. Which derived relation is possible? A, B, C, or D there?
The chat looks like A and B are the favorites.
A and B, huh?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Even split.
All right. Well, that's pretty good. I like to get the split because then I feel like I'm making my money in explaining all of the answers. But here's what I'm doing. And this is actually something I would suggest for you if you get a question like this on the test. This is actually easier, even though it looks like there's a whole bunch of stuff to look at. It's easier than many others because if you're talking about a cow and a picture of a cow and the spoken word cow, that kind of thing, then you have to put labels on it yourself. You have to say, well, the actual cow is A, the spoken word is B, and the picture is C. But whatever you do, or whether you're given this or that, I want you to label those stimuli. Put them in a semicircular or a circular-ish pattern. So I've labeled all the stimuli that are here. And that's what I'm asking you to do in a scenario. Because then we can just make it visually clear what we're taught, what it is we're told, or what we know. Here, A is the same as C, and D is the same as F, and G is the same as a short one, but same as I, and F is the same as A, okay? So those are all the relations that we're told or trained. Now, which ones could we make? Well, you can tell that these I and G are all by themselves. So you really can't make any, relations for these stimuli that connect to I or G. So really, that rules out it's not C, right? But what could it be? F is the same as C. Yeah, it actually is. We weren't trained that, but these are all equivalent. See how they're connected? And that's why I like you to draw it out like that. So when you connect it like that, you could say, yes, F is the same as C. That would be a derived relation you could make. So it's gonna be A because it can only be one answer, right? But let's check the others. A is the same as C. That's true, but it wouldn't be a derived relation. It's already something you were trained. So it's not B. And B is the same as A. Well, there wasn't even a B in there. So that's not it. Okay? Because there isn't a B, we can't really make any relation to B. So clear as mud, I'm sure, but that's what I want you to see is draw out the relation so you can visualize it. It's much easier that way. And that just requires you to label all of those things. Okay, any questions that you're getting or comments?
So Miko, I know these are supposed to come to you, but I think I got a question. So DNA can be derived. That's what the question is. Can that be a derived relation?
What did I have to erase it?
I don't know.
Can D and A? Is that what you say?
Yes.
Okay. D is the same as F, which is the same as A. So yes, we could do that.
That's a higher level question. Nice job.
Yeah, that was great. So yeah, you're seeing the other, I think there's at least one and maybe two more connections that we could have made. But that's it. So you rule out the ones that you could not make and rule in, obviously, the one that's right. Okay, so Miko's going to take the next one. Let me move on. And go ahead there, Miko.
Sounds good. All right, so this one is, which is an example demonstrating reflexivity? A zygote split into two cells, making each identical to one another. B, in a parking lot, a friend points and says, hey, isn't that your car? Yes, it is, you say. C, a boy flips over a picture card, you flip over another, and the two images match. Or D, a girl looks in the mirror, points, and says, that's me. What do we think?
So Miko, you and I are both getting answers, but the answers that are coming into me are D's. People like D.
Yeah, I'm seeing some D's too, which I think is a good thing. So as we always do, let's go ahead and go through every single answer because that's what we like to do around here. So first, when I look at A, I see a zygote split into two cells, making each identical to one another. That to me sounds like biology. The other thing here is that we don't have a match being created. So all we're seeing is two things splitting. There's no identification happening there. So there's no derived relation occurring. Then if I look at B, in a parking lot, a friend points and says, hey, isn't that your car? Yes, it is, you say. This sounds like, well, this sounds like a verbal operant to me, honestly, but it sounds like you responding to someone else's verbal behavior. So maybe we have a little bit of an intraverbal there. And then also, if we're looking at the friend, that could be a mand for information. So it looks like we have that. But again, we don't have a car to a car here. So we're not seeing any identity matching occur. When we move on to C, I see a boy flips over a picture card, you flip over another, and the two images match. This one is pretty close. What we would need to see is an individual put those two cards together. The question here is just telling you that they match. We don't see a derived relation. So maybe you flip it over, and you say, hey, that's the same as my card, and you match those, that would be reflexivity. And then the last one, D, which is the answer here, a girl looks in the mirror, so that's our stimulus. They point to the mirror and say, that's me. So they're identifying themselves as themselves. We have a little bit of A to A here, which would be reflexivity. Any questions about that one, y'all?
Perfectly clear to me.
Cool, I love it.
So do you mind just going back to that first question for 1 second? Somebody had wanted to see the other
Sure.
answers.
Are we sure? Are we done with this one? The answer is D.
Yeah, I don't see any questions in my chat about this one.
Cool. I guess everybody just knew that. I thought I was making hard questions, but I guess not.
So somebody just wanted to see those other answers besides the correct answer, which was A. So for B, we had A equals C, that's C, sorry. G equals F, and D is B equals A.
Yeah. And what we said, there isn't even a B, so that's not it. G and I are all alone, so they aren't connected to anything. So this is wrong. I mean, answer C is wrong. And then A equals C is something we were already given, so it isn't a derived relation. So really, A has to be the answer.
All right.
Okay.
So now we're on.
Now number 3. How are we doing with time? We're gonna have some.
You're
time?
good.
Okay. If symmetry refers to the reversibility of a stimulus relation, which best qualifies? A 55-inch TV costs $500 and an 80-inch TV costs $1,000. 500 is less than 1,000. B, if you don't consider eyeliner as an accessory, then mascara isn't one either. C, when measuring land, a furlong is 10 chains, so a chain is less than a furlong. D, mauve is per se more of a pale purple than it is a red. Red means a spectrum of wavelength. See what you think of that.
Speaking of seeing what we're thinking, I'm getting a lot of C's in the chat.
Aha.
When in doubt, it's always C.
Yeah, that's pretty much true. It's true for me anyway. I don't say we said that for the test.
Yeah, I'm getting C. If you're ready to move on.
Yeah, don't misquote me. I kind of like, I don't want to put the right answer in answer A. So when I write questions, it is kind of true. I don't like to do that, but let's go through each one of these. So I'm hearing that most people answered C, but let's see. I want you to hear the reversibility thing. And what I mean isn't reversibility of behavior like riding a bike. You learned it and you can't unlearn it. What I'm talking about here is just A equals B, therefore B equals A, just reversing that relation. And I also want you to be flexible enough. Yes, I'm asking you to be flexible, please. But this is not just equivalence. I mean, we say it, we're talking about stimulus equivalence, but it also has to do with whatever relation. This one's bigger than this one, or this one's bigger than this one. Therefore, this one is smaller than the other. If someone's faster than someone else, then this person's slower than the faster person. So I want you to be able to go back and forth with non-equivalence relations as well, because, you know, that's real life. I see a hand is raised.
That's
so
just what I was going to say. Elizabeth, go ahead and unmute yourself, or do you have to give her permission to unmute yourself?
I was going to say, I think you guys have to do that.
I asked her to send it to me in chat.
Okay, perfect.
Okay, great. So I want to keep going, or should I?
No, go ahead. And then Nico.
Okay,
interrupt you when it's
we'll
time.
cover it. Anyway, answer it. A 55-inch TV costs 500 and an 80-inch TV costs 1,000. 500 is less than 1,000. Okay, so we're pointing out one relation, that 500 is less than 1,000. If this was going to be symmetry or symmetrical, then I'd have to say the opposite. I'd have to say, well, $1,000 is more than 500. That's the relation that would show us or demonstrate symmetry. And so it's not it. It's not it. B, if you don't consider eyeliner as an accessory, then mascara isn't one either. If you try to put this into the language here of mathematics, this is about as much math as I can handle, like A, B, and C, by the way. But if you don't consider eyeliner as an accessory, then you're saying, let's say accessories are stimulus B. You know, everything that's an accessory goes in category B. Well, then we're saying A, eyeliner, is not equivalent to an accessory. And then you're also told that mascara, let's say that's a C, is not related to an accessory. It's not the same as B. So that's all we're really told here is we're just told that eyeliner doesn't go with accessory and neither does mascara. I'm trying to say mascara.
I don't know why.
Like, why did I do that? I don't know. Who knows what's going on up here? Anyway, so that isn't a symmetrical relation, but kind of try to explain what is that, you know? So put it in that language if you can. And then C, measuring land. A furlong is 10 chain. I had to look this up, of course. A furlong, like, I think I've heard of that. What is that? Well, it's 10 chains. What's a chain? I don't know. But if a furlong is many chains, then a chain is less than a furlong. So that second statement is a symmetrical one. It's demonstrating that you understand that, you know, you could even be more precise and say a chain is 1/10 of a furlong. But good job. Sounds like everybody got that, or most people did. And then, you know, D is again not it, but you're saying that mauve doesn't fit red. It does fit purple. And that's all you're saying. So you're not showing one relation or teaching me one relation and having the demonstration of that reversible relation. Okay, so the answer is C. Sounds like most of you got it.
Let's hold up here just while Nico gives you that question.
Okay.
Yeah. So Elizabeth asked a really awesome question, and this is a very high level question, but it is about mutual entailment. And it was, we have on one of our tests, we have a question about mutual entailment. So good job, Elizabeth, for recognizing that first off.
Yeah.
And
Thanks.
also,
Yeah. Relational frame theory. Yes.
The question is for you, Kevin.
Wait, what's the question?
Yeah, is C also mutual entailment? So is it that if we have A to B, do we also have that reverse relation, or is that reverse relation showing here in C?
Yeah, I think you can think of those as the same thing. Mutual entailment is like categorization. So yes, you could say, all right, these are in the same category, and yeah, you're making that reversible relation. So yes, symmetry and mutual entailment are very much alike. And I'm not real steeped in the RFT stuff, but mutual entailment obviously is something you should know a little bit about. You know, it wasn't really in the previous Cooper edition, and it is, you know, there's a whole chapter on RFT. So it's good to know about. I think it is important.
I'm gonna have to put that on my to-do list for this week.
I know, I had to do the same thing. So yes, so those of us who have been dragging our feet on accepting RFT, it's like, okay, whether you accept it or not, you should know something about it. So thanks, Elizabeth. That's great.
So I think, why don't you go ahead and take any other questions, then save that last slide for the very end.
Okay.
I do have someone put another question in the chat about, I'm not sure if they have the exact question, but it was about one of our mini mocks, and it was a derived relation, the explanation of bigger versus slower. I don't have the exact question, and I'm not sure if you remember it. But
okay. Yeah, I mean, it reminds me, I think there's one about, you know, Jill is faster than Joe or whatever, and one thing is bigger than another. Those are a couple ideas that I think it's good for you to see that. So if Jill is faster than Joe, then the symmetrical relation there would be Joe is slower than Jill. And of course, if you got three people, you know, let's say Jill is faster than Joe, but Joe is faster than Bill, I don't know if you follow all that without writing it out.
Well, and I was just going to say that, if you're ever going to use your whiteboard on the test, these are the questions where you want to pull that in.
Agreed. So you'd be like, Jill is A, Joe is B, and Bill is C. But anyway, I'm trying to say Jill is the fastest, Joe's in the middle, and then there's Bill. He's the slow guy. Okay. So if I'm told all that, then I could call that a transitive relation to go, okay, so then Joe is the slowest, or Joe is slower than Jill. That's something I wasn't taught, wasn't just told, but I derived that from what I know. Does that answer the question?
I think so. I don't have a
As long as you're happy,
follow-up,
Nico. Oh, as long as everybody here is happy, everybody who I can hear is happy. I want you all to be happy. And if you're not happy, or you have more questions, I really do want you to reach out. I know Miko and I do most of answering your emails. And seriously, I would love for you to go deep. So thanks, Elizabeth, for doing that. I got to dive back into that RFT chapter, but I want you to have examples of these concepts. And if you need some help in, is this an example, or, clarifying that, please reach out.
Now, do you remember where the hyperlink is? This is going to be our
I know.
weekly challenge.
I'm kind of an old dog, but yeah, we'll see if the internet works. Okay, so I'm going to take 1 minute, that's it, to show you what we got here. So most of you would be looking at the BCBA exam prep page, and I just want to show you, if you're not familiar, what's on there. So I haven't changed this, but we're going to put the calendar up here real soon. But these are our two main packages. So this one's guaranteed, has everything that we have now and will have as we develop more stuff. This one's a little more streamlined, but you can look at that. It isn't guaranteed. And then we have the individual items. So you can buy, individual tests or mini mocks, etc. But I am trying to go back here because I wanted to show you the calendar. Obviously, we've got the free Zoom that you're in today. You can check this for any upcoming free Zooms every Wednesday. The Tuesday, Thursday meetings are actually part of the All You Need package. So those are going to be the ones in orange. And then these twice a month, we're going to do those 4-hour marathon where we go through questions basically like this and go through every answer. I really think that's important for you to do. Go through every answer and make sure you know why that is right and the others are not. So that is all I got.
Okay. Do you have any other questions for us, Nico, or should we go ahead and pick a winner?
No other questions. We can pick a winner. I do have one announcement though. If
Go for it.
Yeah, y'all have probably already seen this since you're here, but we are doing questions every single day, Monday through Friday on Instagram. And then on the weekends, we'll be adding study tips. So feel free to follow us, tag your friends, answer the questions. And we really want to challenge you not only to answer the questions with the letter that it is, but to explain and really get some conversation going in the chat. We'll be on there monitoring and answering questions. So if you do have something, you can tag us or you can direct message us on Insta as well. So we're happy to help however we can.
Yeah, thanks,
Awesome.
Miko.
And we have some great giveaways coming up. So be sure you're paying attention.
Speaking of,
All right. So let's see. Got to get my little wheel going.
I know Amy's got this
I know.
app.
It's way too much fun for me.
It totally looks like Wheel of Fortune over there.
It does.
I'll
And
take, can I buy a vowel?
oh, look, it's slowing down, Kevin.
Hmm.
Juan, you get the mini
Juan,
mock.
are you
So,
still here? Okay.
Juan, if you don't have an account, make sure to email us. But if you could in the chat, just give Nico and I your last name and we'll try to put that in there.
Yeah, I'll just add it to your account right after this. So congratulations, Juan, and thanks everybody else for being here. I hope all of this gets easier with practice. We really want to be here for you. Okay.
All right, you guys, happy Wednesday.
All right. You made it this far. Good job. Bye, everybody.
Bye-bye.